LATD Nation. What's good, y'all? We back here with another video for you, man. Another quick movie review. Of course, this is your boy Jay.
This is RG from the 843.
How y'all doing?
Feel like it's been a while, man.
Yeah, a little
Feel
bit.
like we haven't been tapping in with y'all as much, but hey, we getting back to it.
Yes, sir.
We got a very special review. Arguably the most anticipated movie of the first half of the year, at least in the comic book world.
At least in the comic book world, yeah. Because I was about to say, this movie is getting a lot of hate. Getting a lot of flack for a myriad of reasons. One of them probably is obvious. You feel me? Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, it's none other than Captain America Brave New World. Now, me personally, I've been a huge Captain America fan for years. That trilogy was my favorite. Cap was my favorite character. Steve. They concluded his story very well in Endgame.
Right.
And, you know, obviously at the end of that movie, he gave Sam the shield.
Sam Wilson, a.k.a. the Falcon.
And
played by Anthony Mackie.
I remember that scene in Endgame, like, just seeing that in the theater, that felt almost, like, surreal.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when he's, like, try it on, and he's like, how does it feel? Like, it belongs to somebody else. It doesn't. That's, man, the
yours.
Endgame, man, the MCU in the 2010s, different level, man. But
yeah.
We digress. So, you know, after some years, about 5-6 years removed from that, and including Falcon and the Winter Soldier that continued that storyline,
right,
where Endgame left off, comes Brave New World. Now, I'm going to go ahead and let you kind of get into it, sort of lay out your thoughts, your opinion, your initial reaction.
So, Captain America Brave New World, like, personally for me, I don't think it deserves all the hate that it's getting, but I understand most of why people don't really like it. Overall, I think it's a really solid film, and it's really, you know, skyrocketed by Anthony Mackie's performance as Captain America. He really makes the character his own. Well, of course, Sam Wilson the character, but he really makes the mantle his own. And he really just goes all out with all the, you know, all the hijinks and all the flying scenes and the action scenes. I think he does really well convincing you that he's Captain America.
I can agree to that. Yeah, that's actually one thing that I did take note of, is that I feel like his portrayal of Cap in terms of the mantle is different. And I really like what he brings. He brings a certain level of swagger and charisma that Steve didn't have.
Nah, he didn't really have it.
Steve, it's not that Steve didn't have charisma. Steve was just more straightforward to the point. You know, Steve
right.
was more
Yeah,
sort of like a very hardened, like, wartime individual.
Right.
Whereas Sam is kind of more of a not jokey, but more sort of like fun-loving, I guess you could say.
Right, exactly. More fun-loving, more lively, more loose.
Yeah, because Steve was a little bit more strict, especially when he first came out of the ice.
Right.
But over time, he started to get a little bit more relaxed, like in Endgame, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because before, in 2015, you know, Age of Ultron, he said language. But then by Endgame, he was cursing his damn self. So, you know,
right, exactly.
It shows how far he had progressed. But yeah, to your point, I could definitely say he brings a certain level of
je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, he does. He definitely does. So that was a big plus for me.
Yeah, and it's just like the pacing of the movie is also great. Like, it never feels slow. It feels. To me, it never felt slow. It never felt like hurry up. You know what I'm saying? Because of course they sometimes they gotta give a little bit of exposition with the world every now and again, but it's never like mind numbing. You know what I'm saying? So I thought the pacing was really well done. Personally, the suits and the costumes were really cool too. The lighting and everything, the effects were decent, and even really all the performances, not just Anthony Mackie's, were really, really good to me.
I agree. Yeah, I think that everybody brings their A game in this movie. I think that Danny Ramirez, matter of fact, is a standout.
Who plays Joaquin Torres, aka the new Falcon?
Yes, I think that I low-key think that he has potential to kind of stand on his own for real as a character. I really want to see them do more with him. He was introduced in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so I'm glad that they brought him back and kind of gave him a bigger role. I think he has a lot of potential. I really enjoy their chemistry and their partnership. So, yeah, I think that overall, performance-wise, you're not going to get too many negatives out of me, especially concerning my favorite actor of all time. He's in this movie playing Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, who's just recently become president of the United States, taking over one William Hurt. Rest in peace to him. He portrayed him in Incredible Hulk
and the Incredible War. Incredible Hulk and Civil War. Yep.
Yeah, and I think that Harrison, taking my bias out of it, Harrison, he showed up to bat. Harrison is a very nuanced. I think the thing that worked about this performance is that when it came to Ross, before we saw him as more sort of like this wartime, and he even says in the movie he's a wartime general. He's very hardened, very stern, but we've only really seen a little bit of who he really is throughout the first two movies. And I feel like this movie did a good job of kind of delving into a man who has a lot more to him than meets the eye. Because with him becoming president, he kind of has to take maybe a softer approach to how he does so. So you see when he's interacting with foreign, potential allies, you see a lot more of a softer, more nuanced, more meditated approach as opposed to this, gung ho.
I was about to say this. Yeah.
As opposed to this more gung ho and sort of like militant individual.
Right.
Which I like that because it shows that his character has evolved since the last time we've seen him. Obviously him becoming president of the United States. Right. He's shown a lot of growth. He's shown a lot of maturity. And I like how much of that is explored in this movie in particular. And I think that his performance, and spoilers, obviously, Red Hulk is in the movie, which I think they would.
Yeah, that's not really much of a spoiler. It was all in the promotional material, and
like spoilers.
I think that's one flaw with this movie that is the promotional material.
I think that Red Hulk should have been saved for the very, very end.
Right.
I don't think it was a good idea for them to reveal him in the trailer because it kind of took the hype for it kind of out from underneath it.
Right, I agree. At least my thing is like the very first trailer when he throws down Cap shield. I think that that should have been the only time we saw the only like to tease it. You know?
Yeah, we shouldn't have seen his face.
We shouldn't have seen his face. We shouldn't have seen nothing, his body or none of that. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, Harrison Ford definitely did it. He had no reason to show up to bat to this movie.
Oh,
not
for sure.
Not really.
Harrison, 82 years old, shit.
Right.
He's living off of Star Wars money, Indiana Jones money, Blade Runner money. Harrison been put his foot in the industry ass, but it's great to see that after all these years, he's really still showing up the bat.
Right.
It's really great to see, because I grew up watching Harrison Ford in Indiana Jones and Star Wars. By the time these movies, they were making their way to me, they were already like 20 plus, 30 years old, and it's just really cool to see that same actor from all them years ago still relevant and still coming out with blockbuster smash movies like this. He's left such a legacy in cinema that really just cannot be underestimated.
Now, with that being said, another one of my favorite characters who was introduced in Falcon and Winter Soldier is Isaiah Bradley.
Yeah.
Just in general, like just hearing his story overall. I thought it was real. I thought he was played by Carl Lumbly. His performance was really well done because if you know Isaiah Bradley, Falcon and Winter Soldier, he was essentially the first black Captain America before Sam Wilson. Before Sam Wilson, and
at least the first black super soldier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so he gets pretty much. He puts on the Captain America suit and goes saves a bunch of people. I read his comic and everything. Like it, he gets captured and sent to prison for over 30 years, where he gets experimented on. I don't want to spoil what happens, but but it's in the trailer too. So he ends up in jail, and Carl Lumsley's performance was honestly heartbreaking for me when he's getting arrested and everything. Like, because you can see him portray like the type of trauma that Isaiah Bradley has. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was very convincing. He's not in the movie a whole lot, but the little bit of the emotional nuance that he gives in his performance definitely adds a very human touch to it. And I honestly kind of wish we had seen a little bit more of him throughout the movie. And
that's one of this movie's flaws, despite how this flaws and kind of. And good things about it, pros, and one of their cons is the fact that a lot of the characters that you see, like Giancarlo Esposito, big names like Giancarlo Esposito, they're not in this movie a lot at all.
Yeah, facts. I feel like they almost were kind of used as a way to get people in the theater. And I think, again, this movie suffers from the same issue that a lot of modern MCU movies can be criticized for, where it's like you have to watch the shows in order to understand. Because if you didn't watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier,
you would know who Isaiah Bradley is.
You wouldn't know who Isaiah Bradley is. You wouldn't know who Joaquin is. It's just, you know, that's... Go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
But it's like that's definitely become a more prevalent issue with the MCU as time has gone on.
Right.
And I just think that, you know, you really shouldn't have to watch the show. The show, if anything, should enhance the movie. I don't think that it should be a case of where you have to sit down and you have to watch the show in order to get what's going on. I feel like it should just be an enhancement.
Right. To see how he's handling, like, being, how Sam Wilson is handling being with the shield and everything like that. He's like, my thing is, the shows and movies and other extra material like that really shouldn't be essential plots in the movies. Now, with that being said, maybe a little show here and there, maybe Captain Falcon and Winter Soldiers. I'll give this one a pass personally, but the thing is, you shouldn't have to watch the 2008 Incredible Hulk movie in order to get this. You shouldn't have to watch Eternals to see why there's a giant hand in the sky. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's facts. Like, there's a lot of stuff in
the earth. Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff in here where it's kind of like you had to have seen previous movies that may not really necessarily connect with each other in order to really get what's currently going on. And you could definitely say that is a negative. And another negative,
for me, that's the biggest negative with this movie.
Yeah, that for sure. But I think that another negative for sure, a glaring negative, villain.
The villains.
I think that the MCU has actually kind of reverted back to having those kinds of villains that are very unmemorable. Because I remember there was back in the day, for the longest time, the only true criticism of the MCU was the villains, you know.
And Killmonger changed that.
And then Thanos took that ball and ran with it. And then I guess Spider-Man No Way Home was kind of a cheat code just because those were already classic villains anyways.
Right.
You know, Electro coming back with that fresh ass fade.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. This man had a glow up for real. Like, Jamie Foxx put that shit on, bro.
Nah, facts.
But like, no, but you were 100% right. And because truth be told,
matter of fact, he had Tim's on in that movie too, didn't he?
I'm not sure.
That was a real New York nigga.
But nah, like,
if he had been like that before.
Oh, man, he would have cleaned up.
He would have never even
cleaned up. Exactly. He wouldn't need no upgrade. He would have been the upgrade. Like,
literally.
But with that being said, like, you're right. But I feel like up until those points, even past those points, really, with the other MCU movies that came after them, after No Way Home and after Endgame with Thanos and after Black Panther, we never really got another good villain like that.
Yeah, because, I mean, we addressed the elephant in the room. Name a memorable MCU villain that's really come out of like the last 5 years since 2020. I'm talking about one that really was like, oh, that's a villain that really struck a chord with people.
That isn't Thanos though.
That isn't Thanos, yeah.
Exactly.
Taskmaster, but that wasn't really Taskmaster.
I'm not counting that. Like, no, they did my boy Taskmaster hella dirty.
MODOK, boy, they butchered MODOK.
I'll say Kang. But Jonathan
Kang.
Majors, but the whole Jonathan Majors situation undercut that.
Yeah, I can't count Kang because I think Kang would have been really good.
Right.
And Kang was the next guy after Thanos, but you know, unforeseen circumstances.
Truth be told, I still would have recast him just how they recast William Hurt. Recast Kang, simple and plain and simple. Like, why throw the train off the track just because one car got loose? Like, you know what I'm saying? That's
a whole different conversation.
But yeah, but with that being said, when you saying about the villains, Tim Blake Nelson, who played what's his name?
Stearns, isn't it?
Yeah, Samuel Stearns in the 2008 Hulk movie, he becomes the leader.
Oh, he was in that?
Yeah. He was
even in that movie.
Exactly, but he was in there in the very end where you see like the blood, like Bruce Banner's blood kind of just dripping all over his forehead and the open wound. That's how he becomes the leader.
I ain't seen Hulk Shit, at least 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah, I watched a bunch of breakdowns. I'm gonna watch it again though, because I thought it was super underrated. But anyway,
Yeah.
Tim Blake Nelson, he, like I said, all these performances are good. John Carlos Esposito, like I said, he does a great job. But it's just that they're so in the movie. It's just the direction that the movie takes them is just what makes it kind of bad, and that just makes the villain kind of bad and like kind of forgettable, to be honest.
Honestly, he's a very, very forgettable villain, especially since he's supposed to be the main antagonist.
Right.
Because I know that the trailers kind of set it up that
Red Hulk was going to be the main antagonist. But he don't even show up until like the end of the movie.
Yeah, like I know they set it up that Ross is supposed to be the main antagonist, but really, to be honest with you, Ross is kind of more, at worst, an anti-hero.
If that.
At worst, an anti-hero, borderline, not hero, but not a villain. So, yeah,
right.
Anti-hero would be a good way to describe him.
Yeah, I get
That'd be a good way to describe him. He has a very emotional sort of storyline in this movie that I think that was a really, really well done
I agree.
Plot point. I think that added a lot to the movie.
Because in the comics, Thunderbolt Ross, he's a flat out asshole. Like everything you see in the movie, everything that you'll see in the movie, and if you decide to go see it, with Samuel Stearns and Thunderbolt Ross, everything that says in the movie happens in the comics, but Thunderbolt Ross in the comics goes full on with it. This dude willingly becomes what he becomes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So and the same thing with Isaiah Bradley. His comic counterpart is way different. Like as much as the Super Soldier Serum was a gift for Steve Rogers, for Isaiah Bradley in the comics, it's a curse. He got all the strengths and the gifts, but this dude is sterile. Which means he can't have any kids. He has the mind of like a child. So essentially, I guess he becomes like autistic to a degree, something like that. But either way, his mind deteriorates.
Almost like Noir in The Boys in a way.
Exactly.
I think that's a fair way to describe it.
Exactly, because my thing is like the comic version of these characters is wild. But one thing I will say that I did enjoy as well is the small details from the comics that they put in this movie, like the vibranium wings that he got from Wakanda. Sam Wilson as Falcon, before he even became Captain America in the comics, got vibranium wings from T'Challa as well. And even when the little feathers will become projectiles too, I thought those were cool nods to the comics as well.
For sure, because I remember playing a Superhero Squad Show game, and I remember playing as Falcon, and I messed with that because he had those projectile wings.
Exactly.
There's a lot in this movie that I do enjoy. I definitely think that it's getting overhated. I really don't think that this movie is anywhere close to the worst MCU movies we've seen since Endgame. You got to give it to Quantumania. You got to give it to Eternals for sure. No, Eternals is in there for sure. It's not as bad as Quantumania, but it's bad.
It's interesting. I'll put it like that.
It's bad.
Like
it's interesting how bad it was.
It's not. Shut up. But I hate to say it, but you got a point. For me, that movie's a 6 out of 10. But I will say it's definitely not as bad as the Marvel. You gonna sit here and tell me with a straight face that this movie is bad as the Marvels?
I didn't even see the Marvels. That's the first MCU movie that I haven't seen in theaters in over a decade.
Put it in the comments. I ain't
gonna lie to you.
Put it in the comments. Tell me this movie is worse than the Marvels, and give me a legit reason why you think so, other than certain obvious features of the main character. Anyway,
I'm gonna let that one lie. But yeah, no, I ain't seen Marvel, so I can't really. I would say that for me personally, my favorite movies that have come from the MCU since Endgame, No Way Home would be my favorite. Guardians 3.
Guardians 3 is my favorite.
My second, and
that's pretty much it. Because almost any other thing we got from the last.
I'll give Shang-Chi credit where it's due.
I
really did like Far From Home too.
Far From Home, I did enjoy Far From Home.
I definitely did like Far From Home as well. So
I'll put it like this: the Spider-Man movies, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and that's really kind of it. And this movie.
Shang-Chi though, actually, I didn't really like Shang-Chi that much when I had first saw it, but I had rewatched it recently because it was on It was on TV the other day, and I gave it a watch. I'm like, oh yeah, no, this thing is tough.
Yeah, I didn't,
especially
really care
the rings
for it.
and everything.
Yeah, I think it was cool for the most part, but I didn't really care for it.
I feel that.
Like I didn't really like it. Didn't really like draw me in. The only thing that I liked about the movie is the fact that it reminded me of. This might sound racist, but the fact that it reminded me of Tekken. If I'm being honest, like when I'm watching him fight,
that kind of arcadey sort of feel.
Right, but that's what I liked about the movie too. Like I didn't hate it. I just didn't. It didn't wow me.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. But overall, I'm messing with Brave New World. I wouldn't mind seeing it again. I give it a solid 7 out of 10.
Yeah,
I had a good time with it. The only thing about it, I mean, I think also another aspect of it is like the political commentary is gonna divide some people.
Whatever.
But that doesn't. It depends on your perspective on that. It shouldn't affect your enjoyment of the movie, but we're in an era that's different from 10, 15 years ago when we was growing up. So
right, where Red Hulks might be orange.
Yes,
but.
Where all in all, though, yeah, man, I mess with this movie. I definitely recommend it, especially as a longtime MCU fan. I wasn't disappointed, and that's the best thing I can say about a modern MCU movie. I wasn't disappointed. Matter of fact, I lied. Deadpool and Wolverine would be in there too.
Deadpool, yeah, it would. Like I said,
Deadpool and Wolverine probably top 3.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, this one is probably the worst Captain America movie, but that's not really saying much.
I would say it definitely is.
But that's not. I mean, yeah, but it's not really saying much for me because it's like it's not even that bad. Like
I agree.
It's not even bad. It's not great, but it's a lot better than what I thought it would be. I would definitely download this, bro. I would definitely watch it again. I'll see it in theaters again.
So you would bootleg this movie? Is what you're saying?
Did I say bootleg?
Download.
I said download it when it comes out on DVD and everything. You gotta
specify.
Like that. Nick, I didn't say bootleg.
Yeah, but no, definitely nowhere near the height of Winter Soldier and Civil War, but a solid movie nonetheless. I'm excited to see what Sam continues to do as Cap.
I agree,
and also because Ross, he proposed a certain deal or a certain initiative. To rebuild a certain team that has pretty much been dormant since 2019.
You're right.
So we'll see what they do with that. Will you be the leader? I highly doubt it.
I will say this. The next Captain America Sam Wilson movie I want to see is with the Serpent Society. I feel like that because it was originally that's what this was going to be. But then reshoots and I guess test audiences didn't like it or whatever. But I would like to see the Serpent Society as his rogues gallery to really make his Captain America to really stand on his own and not have to rely on other movies and other films and other shows to make his point. That. You know what I'm saying? So overall, I give this movie a 7.5, 7.5 out of 10. I had it as an 8 before, but after watching it again in theaters, and I did watch it again in theaters, I didn't bootleg it or nothing like that, like this cat want to say. I did, but I give it a 7 and a 7.5. A lot of the flaws were a little bit more glaring to me. My second go around with it. So, but overall, I really, really did enjoy this movie.
For sure, and at the end of the day, I'm just glad I wasn't disappointed.
Right.
I hate that that's where we're at with the MCU, but hey, man, 35 plus movies in, at some point it's gonna be like that. So overall, like I said, I ain't mad at it.
And now keep in mind, when I was making comments about certain features and everything, that's only a minority of people. I'm not talking about generalizing every person. You know who you are. God bless you, though. But with that being said, man, I've been Jay.
This has been Rodney.
And we are LATD. Remember, we got more videos coming. Remember, y'all, always to look at the details. Peace.